Hello, everyone. Happy October. Welcome to this week's episode of GCC's Georgia Chiro Connection. I'm your host, Dr. Kathy, and this week I'm being joined by one of our GCC board members and a Savannah doc, Dr. Kaleb Scroggin. Hey, Doc.
Hey there. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. I know we're pulling you away from the office right now, but it's kind of important because we got some important stuff we have to talk about.
For sure.
All right. So first of all, I want to talk about last month you were up in Virginia speaking at Icpa. Tell us a little bit about that.
Man, the Icpa Gathering was awesome. It was right outside of DC, and there were so many great presenters, and it was a great honoring of Dr. Jeannie Ohm. And Icpa announced a bunch of new really cool things that they are slowly dripping out to the public. But it's been really cool. I spoke on what we had previously talked a little bit about, was on connecting with OBGYNs and really having a system put in place to connect with them and to keep the connection going, not just reaching out and then wanting them to send you patients, but really building relationship. And on a personal but also a professional level, chiropractors tend to be really bad, from what I've heard from people on that medical side, at keeping up contact. They send chiropractors patients and then they never hear from them again. They don't know, how they're doing, how's their care going, what are they looking for, what are they trying to solve. And so it really kind of, we essentially step a little bit more into a systematic approach where we send to them, the pediatrician or the OB, hey, this is what we found. This is what they came in for. This is how those are connected. This is what we're going to be doing. And you send it to them. In Savannah, everybody's fax. I don't know about up there in Atlanta. They might be in 2022. But for here, we actually fax everybody. And we use a email fax, so we don't actually have a fax machine. But yeah, so all of those documents and we have QR codes that go to video. So we're actually explaining what we do. I was just told a few minutes ago, an OBGYN office, our main hospital OBGYN office, just referred us a patient today.
Nice.
And that's because the OBGYNs, they know that our office focuses in pregnancy, and we're not just some person. We're very focused in what we do, and they like that.
Fantastic. Well, speaking of being focused, I understand that you recently just brought on a new doc and you've got a new SOP that you just completed. Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about that, because that's something that I think a lot of people, especially if you're looking to bring in associates and you haven't done it before, that's something that could save a lot of people a lot of stress, a lot of time, and realistically, probably a lot of money too.
So it is daunting, and I feel like most people know that they should do it, but some people don't really understand the reason why they should do it. Are they at the level where they should do it? Spend the time and going through and writing stuff down. And for us, we've had an employee handbook for a couple of years now, and essentially what that is it kind of outlines what we expect of employees and from me, timeliness, the dress code, we're a non-discriminatory office in the state of Georgia, which is an at-will workplace, and just the standard information. But then we have part 2 to that, which we haven't had before, and that's because I've been the only doctor here. And part 2 is our SOPs. And so our amazing CA Grace actually went through and created, let me see if there's page numbers on here. I think we made it to like 89 pages for the SOP manual.
Wow.
And then for my part, the handbook was 32 pages. And so it's over 100 pages, but what it is that first part was just our expectations, being very crystal clear on communication. So that if there's ever a question that comes up, in regards to how somebody acts in the workplace, anything like that, it's in there. How many days do you have off? It's in there. You know, how many days were you late? There's a list in there that shows, and everybody signed off on. It's just creating a bigger system. I'll tell you that something that was really cool. You know what ruins friendships a lot is people loaning people money.
Yeah.
I still have a very good friend who, when I opened my practice, loaned me $5,000. Best friend. Okay. He was like, yes, and I believe in you. Here's $5,000. But guess what? We wrote up a contract and we had payments and I was scheduled for a certain date. So if I were to ever, not pay or whatever, it would not be him being the bad guy. It would be the contract being the bad guy. So this is what we agreed to. This is what the rules are. So we're still best friends. I paid the guy back, but
I assumed you had.
But had I not, it's not like there were clear expectations, and that's essentially what this is. And then that's for the first part, and then the second part is literally all of our systems. What do we say when we answer the phone? How do we do X-rays? How do we schedule someone? How do we schedule a family? How much time do we give? All the different things. How often do we water the plants? Just everything. So somebody can walk in and we have the system for it.
I love
it. And at a certain level in practice, a lot of people are like, well, I don't really need to write down how often to water the plants. Just, don't let them die. But I know that you are the queen of interns, right? And so
that's for sure.
I imagine that you probably have a system where your interns have something in writing that helps you communicate with them.
Yes. And it's so helpful. And I will agree with you on that from a financial perspective, from an expectation, from a communication. When you have it in writing, the writing becomes, like you said, like the bad guy. So, we just have to default to whatever we had agreed upon in that written agreement, right? Or in the SOP or in our intern agreement, or same thing, even with, like you said, borrowing money or having someone borrow money from you. When it's in writing, it's a lot easier to default to that versus getting mad at each other for miscommunication or misunderstandings or misrepresentation, or I don't think you ever taught me that. Well, here it is. It's written in black and white. So I think that's fantastic. I'm proud of you for getting that done. It's pretty big.
Yeah, it was a decent amount of work, especially for Grace. She was super excited when she finished the last page. And it is a living document, so it's going to be constantly updated as we change our systems. But I think if you're in a place in practice where there's multiple people doing multiple things, you really should have a document like this that just helps everybody be on the same page.
Another reason I think, and this is one of the things I teach at Life, is systems mean save yourself time, energy, money, and stress, right? So when you have systems in place, you're not wasting time, you're not wasting money, you're not stressed out about it, you're not burning energy. And there's an easy way to default back to what is it that we're supposed to do. So in the event that an employee or team member doesn't work out or has a family change or a life change and needs to move on or needs to change their hours, it's a lot easier to bring somebody else in when all the work of training them is not on you, the doctor, to try to remember, how do I teach them to do this? How do I remember about that? What is the system? If it's already documented and your current team members help to keep it updated, it makes it a lot easier to plug in a new person when your office grows, or when your team member wants to go away to chiropractic school and you've got to put somebody else in, when you're expanding, when you're changing, when you're opening a second office. If you have it written down, it's so much easier on you, the doctor, to duplicate that process with the next person.
Oh, yeah. And actually, so we finished the SOP manual last week. So we just finished it. And our newest doc started Monday. And yesterday, Grace, the person who created the SOP manual, had to call out. she couldn't make it in. And so her first question this morning when she walked in was, "Did you guys use the manual?" Because I
Like,
wrote
did you
everything
do
down.
what was supposed to be done, or am I going to have a pile of work waiting for me now that I'm back? That's what I hear in that question, right?
And so it was great to have that to fall back on. Now we're at a point where I still pretty much know most of the things, the systems, without having to reference them.
Sure.
But
when you want to start taking vacations and letting your associate run the office for a week or so, that comes in really handy.
Yeah.
Love it.
So it was awesome.
Good.
Awesome.
Congratulations on doing that. I'm sure there's going to be some people that are going to reach out and say, like, hey, can I get a copy of that? Obviously, it's specific to your office, but maybe it's a guideline that can help them put together what they should have in their SOP.
For sure. I think that's something that we should definitely create some sort of template for, and really help some doctors level up their office so that they can really get crystal clear.
I think I just heard you volunteer to put something in the member section of our GCC website.
Yeah, and we're working on it. We already got a few videos in there that is not available yet. But for those of you watching, the GCC is working on a membership reference section that's going to go through in video, in PDF, all kinds of cool, helpful practice content. That's really going to be very to the point.
Well, good. And speaking of to the point and content, let's get to our next point, because content is, king, as a lot of people like to say. And we've got some continuing ed programs coming up. We've got a big one coming up in Savannah about a month from now. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So when it comes to continuing education, that's one of the cruxes of the Georgia Council of Chiropractic, is providing great continuing education, not just things that you sit in the back of the room for that you have to get, but really exciting, applicable, principled chiropractic. And so November 4th and 5th, I believe. Yeah, November 4th and 5th is actually a Friday and a Saturday. So if you're tired of using up your whole weekend and you're off on Fridays, going to do chiropractic, your CE, where you have to drive back to open overnight to open your office Monday morning, then Savannah is going to be your CE that you're going to want to go to. It's Friday and Saturday, all 20 hours. And then you have Sunday off to visit beautiful Savannah, have a great brunch on the river, and then head back home where you have a nice evening to relax, where you're not driving a ton of hours. We have Dr. Will Youngblood. He focuses in upper cervical specific and also Pierce. And so we're going to be going through some neurology, some structure, some biomechanical corrections on how to really get some good results in your office. And this is geared towards the person who really isn't, Pierce certified or HIO only practitioner. This is someone who sees patients and wants to, gain a little more clarity in really getting good results. We also have, Dr. Steve Renicki, who is amazing. He's out here in Pooler by me. Justin Tinker, he's down in St. Augustine. Shannon Good, she's up in Atlanta or somewhere up there, Marietta, Kennesaw.
In the vicinity, yeah.
In the vicinity.
In Marietta area.
And she's going to be teaching pregnancy, perinatal care, and how to really take care of the pregnant moms in your office, and a ton more. So all of this stuff is really here it's not just because you have to get hours. It's really, we put a lot into getting this content to you guys to really level up your offices in all aspects.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to that event coming up. That's in a month from now. So if you haven't registered yet, just go ahead and check out the website, georgiachiropractic.org. You'll see that right on the home page, so you can get registered for that. But if Savannah doesn't fit into your schedule, remember, this is a license renewal year. We do renew our licenses in Georgia December 31st of all the even years. Excuses don't count. So make sure you're getting your CE done. And remember, it's 20 hours per year, not 40 hours per renewal. So you cannot just get all 40 in one shot. So As a reminder, we do have our big convention coming up second weekend of December. That's December 9th and 10th. On Friday night, we've got our philosophy panel, which is going to be followed by our casino night and our big holiday party. That's always a great time. That's in the Marietta area. And then, of course, we'll finish up with all of your 20 CEs for that weekend as well. So you got 2 more opportunities to get your continuing ed before the year is over. And I do want to mention that for some of you that may be watching, I spoke to a lot of docs, excuse me, at Fall CE this past weekend. There was a lot of conversation about what the GCC is doing, about our most recent golf tournament, about our fundraising and our big donation towards research. So there were a lot of great questions that came up. If you're here for the first time checking this out, we welcome you. We do this pretty much every Wednesday, pretty close to 1:30, and we do it live so that we can have the most current information for you. So, Dr. Kaleb, anything else you want to share with us?
The only thing I wanted to add is I'm looking pretty excited, or I'm actually pretty excited to hit the craps table at December's convention, and for our casino night. It's going to be fun, and we're raising money for more research.
Yep, that'll be a great time. I'm going to learn how. I was playing a little bit last weekend. I'll be playing a little bit at that casino night. I'm sure we're gonna have some poker tables there too. So I got to get good at that because I gotta try to hold my own.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And if anybody has any questions, just reach out.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you here next week. Don't forget, next weekend in Atlanta is DE. So, of course, we'll have one of our DE docs coming on next week so we can kind of get you fired up, do a little bit of philosophy for your midweek lunch break, and keep you plugged in, connected, and dipped in our philosophy. So keep doing what you're doing out there. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'll see you next week right here at GCC's Georgia Chiro Connection. Bye-bye.
Bye.